Hey YouTube, it's GV Lone Guy. It is March 19th AM on the West Coast here, and I was just this video by T-Bar 1984. I really like his videos. He explains a lot of stuff. He's talking about this moon over Hawaii, big uh, what the reasons are that everybody's getting all crazy about it. But anyway, he makes reference at the end to one of these guys that puts out an interesting blog page, so I decided to take a look at it. And I thought I would share with you some of the interesting things. So this blog page is put out by this guy right here. And as you can see, he doesn't look like he's a big guy out of NASA that's part of a plot to give us bad information. It looks like he might be a reputable guy, amateur astronomer working out of South Australia, Adelaide, South Australia. Anyway, so I was reading through his blog page, the current one, and he makes reference to Nibiru and 2012 and the focus of numerous fears of astronomical catastrophe. And one of the fears centers around the mythical planet Nibiru. Supposedly either a super Jupiter or brown dwarf, Nibiru is allegedly in the inner solar system, somewhere between the orbits of Jupiter and Mars, heading for a close encounter with the Earth. The latest alarm comes from Terrell Croft, who lots of you know as Terrell03, who claims that in March 22nd this year there will be a magnitude 9 earthquake affecting the Pacific Rim. That's up here, somewhere along here. Pacific Rim. All right? I'm right here, right on it. So of course I pay attention anytime the subject comes up. And I'm putting this up to have both sides of the argument presented, because as you know, I have a video on the prediction made by Curtis that March 23rd there will be a 9.0 or greater. So between Terrell and a handful of others, we'll see how these predictions come out. But I thought I would post up the information here that presents the opposite side of the story, which is the belief that there's no rhyme or reason to this 188-day stuff. So let me just go on here. This will be due to a combination of the alignment of the Earth, Sun, Moon, and constellation Leo, and an alleged heavy mass object, his version of Nibiru. Alright, so there's a lot of stuff going on right around that date, I gotta admit. The basic idea is that every 188 days, roughly coinciding with the equinoxes, the lineup with Leo produces strong Earth magnitude 7 or greater. The March equinoxes produce the strongest earthquakes because they also line up with the heavy mass object. On his page, he talks about winding back 188 days from the March 2011 Fukushima earthquake. And there's the September 2010 Christchurch earthquake. Then wind back another 188 days, and there is the February 2010 earthquake. Spooky. Although this is less impressive when you realize there were 7 magnitude 7 or greater earthquakes between March 2011 and September 2010, and 13 magnitude 7 or greater earthquakes between September 2010 and February 2010. On average, there are 15 magnitude 7 or greater earthquakes a year. So 6 months after any earthquake, you would expect to see another one. There is nothing special about the equinox months, as well as the actual dates of the earthquake can be up to 2 weeks away from the equinox. Not very convincing. Okay, well, that doesn't concern me, because as I have pointed out, there's a window. I think that's perfectly acceptable. Somewhere in February, March, early April, late February, all of March, early April seems to be the time frames, and 6 months on the opposite side. So anyway, let me go on. Okay, you say, sure, there's a lot of magnitude 7 plus earthquakes, but maybe the magnitude 7 plus earthquakes are more common every 188 days. Well, so he did some charts and stuff here, which is pretty impressive. Allegedly, this is the area that we should have been looking for some sort of pattern, and it's missing. Not there. So, I've looked at this a couple of ways. In my original discussion of Menser-Omer-Bossage idea, I did a Fourier analysis of earthquake frequency. Remember that Fourier analysis is the standard way to pick up cyclic events out of noisy data. If earthquakes are more common every 188 days, we should see a peak every 188 days. In fact, there is no peak. Maybe it's only the magnitude 8 or greater earthquakes with the 376-day cycle that are more frequent. So I redid my Fourier analysis on the 36 years of magnitude 8 or greater earthquakes, and the earthquake data can be downloaded here, which I did click on, by the way, and that brought me over here, which I'm going to come back to. Again, we see no peaks. The red arrows indicate the peaks where the peak should be if they existed, but we see nothing but noise. When I did this on 30 years of sunspot data, very noisy data set with only 3 peaks, Fourier analysis clearly showed a peak of 10 years, not far from the long-term average of 11 years, which is the solar cycle. Bottom line, no 188-day or 376-day cycle as claimed by Terrell. So this guy's got impressive data here, and it looks pretty good. I'll put a link down below. You can check this. I thought it was pretty good information. There's a little bit more, and then I'm going to jump over to something that I noticed. He did mention something about the 8 or greater. So I thought, you know what, here's the bottom line. We're talking about earthquakes that we're looking for, this predicted earthquake coming up in a few days of a 9.0. So if something like a 7.5 shows up, should we count that? I don't know. I mean, 7s apparently are quite common. So I thought, well, let me look at what anything over 8.0. So I followed one of the links that he put on his deal here. And I went and typed in 1970 to 2012. Anything magnitude 8 or greater. And I did that search, and here's the results. And this is what I thought was interesting. In the 70s, as you can see here, the information indicates that there are, in the 10-year decade of the 70s, there were 4 earthquakes that are 8 or above. Here they are. 75, May. 76, January. 77, April. 77, again, August. All right, so in this category, of these 4, I would say that 2 of them fall into the window that we're talking about. The April 21st, which is kind of on the outer edge, but it's still there, and then the August 19th right in the middle, smack dab, boom. But May and January, I don't know what to think of that. So far we're there. 4 of them in the decade of the 70s recorded. Here's the decade of the 80s. Now there's 5 of them, which is interesting. In 1980, in July, that's outside the window that Terrell talks about. 1985, September 19th, that's right in there, boom. 1986, May, outside. Again in 86, October, that falls in the window. 89, May, outside. So we're going about every other one here so far, folks. That's 5 for the decade of the 80s. Now, the decade of the 90s. Interestingly, there are 6 8.0 magnitude earthquakes or greater. So here we go, 94, June, that's outside the window. 94, October, right there, right inside the window. 95, July, outside the window. 95 again, October 9th, right in the middle. 96, February. 98, March, both October, February, and March. So now there's 4 out of 6 that fall inside the window. that Terrell's talking about. Let's look at the decade of the, I don't know what you call it. Now all of a sudden we've jumped from 4 per decade to 5 per decade in the 80s, 6 per decade in the 90s. Now we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 8.0 magnitude earthquakes or greater in the decade of the aughts, of the 2000, in the 19, we'd have called it the 1900s, so this is in the 2000s. In that decade, 13 of them. So let's look at where they fall. Here's November, that's just right on the outside edge of the window. June, outside the window. September 25th, right, boom, right there in 2003. 04, December, outside the window. Another one, 04, or 9.1, look at that, outside the window. 05, March, right in the middle. 06, May. 06 again, November. So August, September, October. So November's outside. 07, January, outside the window. 07, April 1st, that's right smack dab in the middle. 07, August 15th, right smack dab in the middle. 07, September, right smack dab in the middle. And in 09, September, right smack in the middle. All right, so there's a trend here. As we get in the latter part of the decade, the frequency of things falling inside that window of August, September, October, or February, March, April seems to be getting a little bit bigger. But that's, that's just, you can always look at things how you want. So here we are in the beginning now of the next decade, and we're into 2010. We had one in February 27th, right in the middle of the window that Terrell talks about. 2011, March 11th, boom, right in the middle. So what you can see here is that starting right here in April 1st of 07, from that point on, every single earthquake that's been 8.0 or greater has fallen within the window of either February, March, and April, where we're right smack dab in the middle of today, or on the other side, August, September, October. So, I don't know. I'm just saying. I just want to present all the information. Let you guys decide for yourselves. Alrighty? You take care. Interesting blog page, so I decided to take a look at it. And I thought I would share with you some of the interesting things. So this blog page is put out by this guy right here. And as you can see, he doesn't look like he's a big guy out of NASA that's part of a Hey YouTube, it's GV Lone Guy. It is March 19th, AM on the West Coast here. Plot to give us bad information. It looks like he might be a reputable guy, amateur astronomer working out of South Australia, Adelaide, South Australia. Anyway, so I was reading through his blog page, the current one, and he makes reference to Nibiru and 2012 and the focus of numerous fears of astronomical catastrophe. And one of the fears centers around the mythical planet Nibiru. Supposedly either a super Jupiter or brown dwarf, Nibiru is allegedly in the inner solar. And I was just this video by T-Bar 1984. I really like his videos. He explains a lot of stuff. He's talking about this moon over Hawaii, big, what the reasons are that everybody's getting all crazy about it. But anyway, he makes reference at the end to one of these guys that puts out an